Hello and welcome to the SMRC eSports Racing Autumn Cup, presented by Sim Broadcasts and powered by Reese Motorsport Insurance. It's Andy Alston with you here for 3 races at one of the top venues in all of motorsport. It's Silverstone for the penultimate event of the year. We've raced at the national and the international events throughout this season, but this time it's the full Grand Prix circuit that's in store for us tonight. There's no Duncan Vincent with us for this one, but he'll be back for the last event in Suzuka in 2 weeks' time. So, last time out, Fraser Williamson wrapped up the overall championship at Interlagos, but there's still lots to play for, with one last trophy up for grabs and lots of positions to be won and lost. So that's the overall championship standings that you see at the moment. Fraser Williamson top of the table, followed by Michael Weddle, Adam Brown and Jack Eyre, the Rethink Racing trio. But we've also got this overall Autumn Cup to look at as well, and that's when positions can also be won and lost, because we've got 6 rounds between now and the end of that event. So very much all to play for. So the drivers are making their way out there on track at the moment for the qualifying session. It's 19 degrees track temperatures, a very, very cold one out there. In particular, the drivers will be taking it easy on their outlap, just trying to get the car up to temperature, get those tyres and brakes into the optimum window to set up to a maximum of 4 timed laps. And drivers in practice, that's high 157s or low 158 is the kind of times we're seeing at the front. So it's going to be a little bit tight for the drivers to get 4 flying laps in this session when they factor in your outlap as well. So that'll add a little interesting element to the mix, I suspect, as well. So there we see on screen, it is the Autumn Cup Championship standings, and Fraser Williamson leading the way on 348 points. Then it's Josh Hislop, 304, with Danny Henney on the final step of the podium at the minute. Fraser Williamson's taken 7 wins from a possible 12 so far. Danny Henney's had 4 trips to the top step of the podium, and Josh Hislop has been there once so far as well. So it'll be very, very interesting to see if Hislop and Henney maybe put Williamson under a little bit of pressure here. Fraser knows he's got the overall standings wrapped up, but he'll be keen to extend his gap in this one as well. Looking further down the standings, still lots of positions to be won and lost. It's very, very tight in the midfield in particular as well. And we've got 21 cars out there on track for action here tonight. So in a few moments, we'll take a look at a couple of drivers who are making their way round at the moment. They're just coming towards the end of their outlap, and there's one man in particular who'll be keen to make an impression. It's the red car, number 93, Danny Henney, making his way around the final part of the lap. He'll be getting all set to go for his first flying lap as he makes his way down the hangar straight. A driver very much with pace, as we know. He's a new entrant to our SMRC proceedings. He made his debut in this Autumn Cup, and 4 trips to the top step of the podium as well, but he's also bagged a couple of second places too. Unfortunately, Danny missed the second round of this Autumn Cup. That was at Imola, because he's a driver with plenty of pace and has really been asking a number of questions of the drivers out there on track. So 4 minutes gone in this qualifying session, and it is Fraser Williamson leading the way at the top of the standings. But as soon as I say that, Danny Henney just goes and sticks that red car on pole position. It's a 158 dead for the 93 car, so he's just managed to pit Fraser Williamson, who's gone into the pit lane, I suspect. So I'll be interested to see if he comes back out in the final part of this session. But it's Jack Eyre in third, Mark Heron in fourth, Adam Brown in the top 5 at the minute. So it's 158, so the times at the top just now, followed by it's Adam Brown in 5th place. It goes into a nearly 159. But what we're finding with these Formula Renault 2-litre cars is it does take a few laps for them to really get into the groove, and the drivers just get comfortable with them as well. One thing to keep an eye on for this event as well is how these cars handle the curbs. Danny Henney, they're taking all the exit and then some as he makes his way out of Luffield, through Woodcote and down the old start by finish line here, and then into Club Corner. So just see who's going to be aggressive going over the curbs there, because that big one there on the inside, the red sausage curb, can just throw that car out wide, as we've seen there with Danny, just a little bit A little bit messy on exit here as he goes into the Maggots and Beckett section. Always a spectacular one to watch here as he's in 5th gear, just a late move into 4th, trying to use the high revs on exit as he makes his way through Chapel and down the Hanger Straight. And I think that's going to be a really interesting element thrown into the mix here. Who's going to be brave on the curbs? Who's really going to try and maximise speed when they're making their way around this track? This is a very, very interesting one as well, slow corner, because you've got to get the exit right here in particular, because it's a short, sharp straight down to Vale, then into Club Corner. It's a never-ending corner now, the way it's been profiled. Again, you want to just try and use as much of the track as possible. That's absolutely crucial around this circuit as Danny Henny crosses the start-finish line now. It's a 150.0 he's looking to beat. Can he put that car into the 157s? Be very impressed if he does. And it looks like he's not. In fact, he has just slightly managed to improve on that time by hundreds of a second. And Fraser Williamson also running them very, very close indeed. Jack Eyre is 0.3 of a second further behind at the moment and in 3rd place, followed by Josh Hislop and Kyle Power. But let's take a look at the man of the moment, Fraser Williamson, the 369 car, as he is looking to start this one from the front of the grid. Of course, our champion in the overall eSports racing standings. He was there in the spring, the summer, and this autumn cup as well, and he's been fantastic throughout. We've had a number of different race cars, of course, throughout in this championship, and one of the real impressive elements about Fraser is the consistency. It's just lap after lap, he's always there. It's a 10th here, half a 10th there, and that's what's made him lead the way he has. So let's take a look now at Jack here, 3rd place at the moment, as we just mentioned. It's a 158.3. Then that was his last time going round there, so he is certainly making a move on. And as he comes round the Brooklands section and into Luffield, again, a very, very tricky part of the track, and I suspect that's going to be the scene of a couple of major talking points in all of our 3 races. Jack here again using all the track and then some on exit, then just taking a nice wide line, and then, in fact, using a little bit of extra track there, and why not if you don't get the off-track penalty, of course. And a driver, of course, with lots of pace as well, know that, Jack Eyre, and he's one who has also made the switch into real-life racing as well. Jack has been part of the grid in our Scottish C1 Cup as well at Knockhill, and been very much impressing in there too. So 2 minutes, just under 2 minutes left in this session. Jack's just had second thoughts about that lap. He's going to just cool the car down. Perhaps he'll get time for one more. Kyle Power looking to make an impression in that bright green car. 5th place at the moment with a 158.8. So not a lot between him and Josh Hislop and Mark Herron, who are either side of him. Adam Brown's just dropped down the order slightly into 7th place, followed by Kieran Smart and then Richard Crozier rounding out the top 10. Mark Herron is a driver we're following at the moment, 8th place man. So it's him and Kyle Power. They've had some really good scraps actually throughout this Autumn Cup, so definitely 2 drivers worth keeping an eye on in the races here tonight. Just looking further down the order, John Higgins with a 159.4, another driver we know has got lots of pace, so perhaps he's had a little bit of a moment in qualifying, and he'll be looking to make his way through the field. Del Smith in 15th, Nathan Lamond, he's in the pit lane, he's not going to improve. Aidan Wilson back for this one as well in the pit lane, so he'll start from at least 18th place on the grid. And it's under a minute or so left on this one, so there's not too many cars out there on track looking to improve. One man who's made a very late appearance, though, is the Rethink Racing driver of Michael Weddle, who's put that car in 4th place. It was a 158.7, so that's a very late time from the Rethink Racing driver, but it's one that secures the 2nd row of the grid for him alongside Jack Eyre as things stand. So Del Smith, one of the few cars still out there on track, so 159.9 that he's looking to try and improve on as he makes his way down Maggots and Beckett's at that tight and technical part of the track. But I don't think he's going to, in fact, have enough time to finish this lap, because 15 seconds are on the board and he's not going to make it to the Hamilton Straight in that time. So it looks like Del Smith will be a minimum of 15th place unless Jonathan Glover or Owen Ross have something to say about it. But yeah, it's been a very interesting qualifying session. I have to say, a couple of drivers in there who will be keen to make their way up the order. John Higgins Jr., I suspect, is one to keep an eye on in particular, starting this race from 13th place on the grid. So let's get set for race number 1 here tonight at Silverstone. Danny Henny will start from pole position. Look at that. There's not even a 10th of a second between him and Fraser Williamson. Then it's Jack Eyre, Michael Weddle in 4th, Josh Hislop in 5th, Kieran Smart in 6th, followed by Kyle Power, Mark Heron, Adam Brown, Richard Crozier rounding out the top 10. Next, James McIntosh in 11th place, and Ronald Grossman starts this one from 12th on the grid. It's John Higgins in 13th, Cameron Ritchie in 14th, followed by Dale Smith, Nathan Lamond, Jonathan Glover, Aidan Wilson, Gaz Brown in 19th, Owen Ross starts from 20th, and then we've got Sean Dobie and Jackie Chalmers in 21st and 22nd place. So that's all we've got out there on grid for race number 1, and there will be no time and time again. It's all about keeping that car clean and out of trouble, because if you have a bit of a contact, you have a bit of a moment in race number 1, it can seriously compromise the rest of your event. So the drivers will be just, I suspect, keen just to get through the first couple of corners cleanly. If they can get their way through the loop entry, get themselves down the Wellington Straight in one piece, they can then build and go from there. So Danny Henney, that red car starts from the front of the grid. He's got the outside line, of course, into Abbey. Fraser Williamson on the inside line. The lights come up on screen for the first time of asking here tonight. We've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights on screen, and they go early. And it's a very good start from Danny Henney, who manages to control the wheel spin. Williamson in air, side by side. Air on the outside in the purple car. Not got quite enough to make it stick there. Williamson just looking to cement the inside line as they make their way into Village for the first time of asking. Michael Weddle looks like he's secured 4th place quite comfortably. Kyle Powers had a bit of a moment. He's gone tumbling down the order. In fact, Jack Air's got the move on Williamson. Jack Air goes into 2nd place, and he's traded places once more with Williamson in air as they make their way down the Wellington Straight for the first time of asking. Both of those cars battling it out. That's music to the ears of Danny Henney, because he can focus on the track in front. Will Jack Air pull that car out of the slipstream here? He thinks better of it. Josh Hislop, meanwhile, making a move on Michael Weddle. They both exchange places side by side as they come round Luffield here. Weddle on the inside line, so the green car of Hislop will have to go the wrong way round and think better of it this time round. He's not going to perhaps make a move, surely not into Cops. He's on the outside line. That can't work. 2 into 1 into Cops corner won't happen, surely. Weddle defends, takes the position, and into 4th place in this race. So we've got a bunch of 5 cars there just setting off into the distance, followed by Adam Brown, Kieran Smart, Ronald Grossman, John Higgins already up 4 places from where he started, when James McIntosh rounding out the top 10. So it's Air in 3rd place, Williamson in 2nd. So Air did look to have a move, but not managing to make it stick. But 15 minutes in this one, and as we know in all these events, the order that we see right now isn't necessarily the one that we see at the end of this race. So Danny Henney pulling out a gap of 0.7 of a second from Fraser Williamson in the space of half a lap or so. Very, very impressive stuff indeed from him. Ronald Grossman coming under a little bit of pressure here from John Higgins. In fact, John Higgins looks like he's got the inside line here, but he will of course have the outside line around the final part of club corner. So unless he's brave on the outside, in fact, it looks like a little bit of contact between him and Grossman. That's compromised John Higgins Jr. and as Lamond and Crozier all get through. Aidan Wilson, in fact, and Jonathan Glover as well. I wonder if there's a little bit of damage or something not quite right with that car, as Higgins has gone tumbling down the order despite a very promising start to this race. All the meanwhile, back at the front, Williamson's got a little bit of a gap now from Jack Air. And look at that, Josh Hislop throws that green car up the inside of Michael Weddle. It's a very clean move. Now Weddle's vulnerable to Adam Brown. Adam Brown thinks he'll go and get involved in here as well. Brown goes into 5th place. Weddle drops down to 6th. And we've got Kieran Smart in the yellow car just a little bit further behind, also looking to get involved. He's going to have a double slipstream here. Let's ride on board with Kieran Smart. Commits to the inside line very early. They're going to go 3 wide into Brooklands. Surely that won't work. Smart just lets Adam Brown just take the lead here. Weddle now with the inside line into Luffield. Weddle closes the door on Kieran Smart. In fact, Weddle, look at that. Weddle's let him through. Weddle's he's not managed to block off Kieran Smart. He throws that yellow car up the inside and into 6th place in this race. So the drivers here from 3rd to 6th are all exchanging places in the space of a couple of laps. Weddle goes down to 7th place in this one after 2 laps. So really good scrapping between these guys here. Will Weddle perhaps have a move into Maggots and Beckett's? And looks like he is. In fact, Weddle's going a long way around as well. He's making it difficult for himself, but he makes the move stick. Good, brave bit of driving from the Rethink Racing driver as he secures 6th place once more in this race. Back at the front row, Danny Henney, it's almost 1 second is the gap between him and Fraser Williamson. Jack Air and Josh Hislop just a little bit further behind now. Hislop just making Air look in his mirrors. He's not close enough to make a move stick into Stowe corner. I suspect he's a little bit too far behind into club as well, so it's just a case of getting the head down, sitting in the slipstream, and perhaps in that Wellington straight and going into Brooklands, that's maybe the scene of an overtaking opportunity. But of course, Adam Brown, Michael Weddle, Kieran Smart, all in hot pursuit here as well. 5 seconds is the gap between first and between 7th and the rest of the chasing pack. So this bunch is really set off into the sunset with 4 and a bit minutes gone in this race. Jackie are now coming under a little bit of pressure as they make their way into the new, it's been here for a long time now, into this infield section. It's still new to me that I want them to go left at Abbey, and I'm still used to going down to Priory and Riverwood, but here we are. Jackie in the infield section, coming under a little bit of pressure from Adam Brown. Once more, Kieran Smart, Michael Weddle, all looking to get involved too. Adam Brown is still in 5th place in this race, started in 9th, so it's been a good couple of laps for him. Just further back though, Owen Ross having a good scrap here. A number of drivers looking to get their hands on the final top 10 position, but further ahead it's Josh Hislop. Once more, he's on a right good scrap with Jack Hare, but Josh Hislop has made the move, and he's made the move stick on Jack Hare as well as they make their way down the old start finish straight. So it's Hare from Brown, Hislop from Hare I should say, with Adam Brown in 5th place, Michael Weddle in 6th place. Dale Smith looking to make that move. Owen Ross and Gaz Brown, 3 of them having a right good scrap here as they go into Cop's corner. And they're going 3 wide. They're going 3 wide, and there's contact. And oh, dearie me, very nearly 2 cars going off there. Just the one of Owen Ross, unfortunately for him, goes tumbling down the order, and that is seriously going to compromise his event. So Gaz Brown and Del Smith rounding out the top 10, followed by Gaz Brown and Richard Crozier and Mark Heron in 13th place as well. And that's the first bit of real drama. Let's get another look at it. And in fact, that looks like a net code to me. Both cars, it didn't look like there was any contact, unfortunately, but due to the way the iRacing platform works, it thinks there may have been contact between the 2 drivers, and unfortunately, it's not worked out well for Owen Ross as he goes down to 17th place in this race. And that's a shame because he was having a very impressive opener here tonight. Back at the front, Danny Henney. Last time out was a 158.3, and that is 3 and a bit tenths quicker than Fraser Williamson in 2nd place. Sean Dobie's had a little bit of a moment, so let's take a look at that on the replay. The 159 car on the inside. In fact, I beg your pardon, just a little bit further behind, 2 very similar liveried cars. There's been a moment in front of Dobie, in fact, and he's shown a good bit of awareness there just to keep that car out of trouble and keeps his nose clean. So, good bit of driving there from Sean Dobie. 15th place, started this one in 21st, remember, so another driver who's been making moves after 4 and a bit laps. Back at the front row, Hislop and Brown exchange of places. Drapier dropped down into 5th place at the moment, but that looks like he's going to perhaps make a bit of a move here into Luffield, looking to get a cut back there, but Adam Brown just closing the door nicely. So Hislop, Brown and Hare is the order from 3rd into 5th. Jack Hare just got, again, taking all of the track and then some on the inside, just pulling out the slipstream early, committing to the racing line to try and maximise speed on exit here into Cops Corner, because he knows the 2 cars in front are scrapping and they're off the racing line. That's given Jack a little bit more momentum here as they make their way through Maggots and Beckett's, and this is all about just keeping the car nice and calm, nice and composed, and then perhaps making a move into Stowe or Club Corner if you can. So Joyce Hislop, he's too far back from Williamson and Henney, so he's really looking in his rear view mirrors, and he's got a car full of Adam Brown and Jack Hare, Michael Weddle and Kieran Smart not too far back down the road either. So 3rd place still very much all to play for as we pass the midway point in race number 1 here this evening. Jack Hare, again, perhaps looking lively here. In fact, as he just comes across Vale, will he make a move into Club Corner? And it's one of these ones where you've got to really get yourself into the inside nice and early if you want to make it stick there. Jack Hare just a little bit too further back this time round. All the meanwhile, Adam Brown, in fact, has just pulled out a couple of just a little gap of a couple of tenths a second between him and Hislop now. Hislop in the green car just got the head down, and as those two guys behind him have been scrapping over the last part of this lap, that's allowing Hislop just to pull away slightly. But yes, it's been a very, very interesting scrap between those 3 guys, to say the least. Michael Weddle in 6th place, looking to just, again, wait in the wings. And as those 3 guys continue to fight, that will bring him and Kieran Smart into contention as well. So let's take a look at the 42 of, the 87, I should say, of Gaz Brown. Him and Del Smith, again, having a right good scrap for 12th and 13th place. Gaz Brown started this race in 19th place and already up into 12th. So another driver who's been making moves in the opener here tonight. Adam Brown, And now again coming under a little bit of pressure once more from Jack here. But look, just further behind, there's Michael Weddle there. And just in the distance, beginning to reel in those cars as well. It was a 158.6 last time out for Michael Weddle. That's 0.3 of a second quicker than Air, Brown and Hislop. So as these three continue to scrap, Michael Weddle's going to get involved and into the mix here as well. So it's still Hislop in the green car leading from Adam Brown with those pink alloy wheels. And then it's the 5th place car of Jack Hare, who is just biding his time a little bit here, I suspect, as well, as they make their way through Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel and now down into the hangar straight for the 5th time of asking. And Jack Hare is right up in fact, look at that, Jack is a little bit further back, but Adam Brown is very, very close to Hislop now. He's reeling him in as he makes his way into Stowe corner. Hislop defends early, forcing Brown the long way around. Can he make it stick, though? He's momentarily got his nose in front, but he's going to be pushed wide on exit. He's got to deal with the Astro there as well. So Josh Hislop lives to fight another day, and I suspect he's going to just park that car on the inside of Club Corner as well. He does just that. So Hislop retains 3rd place. It's been a very impressive bit of defensive driving from the green and white car, it must be said. Hislop from Brown, Jack Hare in 5th, and Michael Weddle is very much in this mix now. A great couple of laps from the Rethink Racing driver. He's now in 6th place, and he's got those 3 cars in front of him, all continuing to scrap wheel to wheel, and that is bringing him very much into the mix here. Down into 4th, into 3rd gear goes Michael Weddle. In fact, there's been contact there, and we'll have to get a replay of that one because it's all kicked off here. In fact, let's take a look now. So Hislop in the green car, Hislop in the lead. He's got Adam Brown behind him. Adam Brown's just mistimed his braking point. He's collected Hislop. Nothing Hislop could do. Jack Hare just keeps that car out of trouble, and it's damage for Hislop, unfortunately for him. So Adam Brown's just locked up there going into Village, unfortunately, and that has sent the green car of Hislop well down the order, unfortunately. So it's now Adam Brown in 3rd place, followed by Jack Hare, Kieran Smart into 5th place, and Michael Weddle into 6th place as well. So lots of drama in this one with just under 4 minutes left to go in the opener. Danny Heney's got a gap of 1.8 seconds from Fraser Williamson, so it looks like the 2 cars at the front are just setting off into the distance. Meanwhile, let's ride on board with Richard Crozier looking to make a move on Mark Herring here as they go into Cox Corner for the 6th time, but just a little bit too far back there and losing a little bit of the sausage curb there on the exit as well, just to really now get side by side with Herring now and they go into Maggots. And can he perhaps make that move stick? It's going to be a great bit of driving if he can do just that. Gaz Brown looking to get involved in the orange car also, and Crozier just been compromised a little bit there into Beckett's and Chapel, so he's just going to drop off a little bit. That brings the orange car of Gaz Brown into the mix here because he's going to get a very good tow down the hangar straight. So it might not be a move into Stowe, but it could well be a move into Club Corner. Crozier just darts out wide once more. Mark Herring taking a very narrow line into Stowe Corner. He's going defensive. He's taking no chances. Crozier looking very, very lively on exit. Will he throw that car up the inside of the Club Corner? He thinks better of it because he knows he's got Gaz Brown hot on his heels as well. Back at the front, Michael Weddle putting Kieran Smart under a bit of continued pressure here. Those 2 guys having a really good scrap and a very impressive race from Kieran Smart as well, it must be said. Now into 5th place. Just got Jack here closely, just close up the road as well. Adam Brown's just got a little bit of a gap now in the pink alloy car, so 3rd place at the moment for him. But again, he's vulnerable down the straights with the slipstream in these Formula Renault cars. Back at the front, it's 2.1 seconds now, but it's the gap between Heney and Williamson. It's been a good, solid race for Danny Heney. The 93 car has kept that car out of trouble, and it could be a good opening win for him here tonight. Crozier now coming under pressure from Gaz Brown, as we suspected might happen. Gaz Brown's chosen the Wellington Straight to make a move into Brooklands. Looks like he's perhaps got enough to make it stick, but then, of course, he's now compromised on the exit of Luffield as it gives Crozier the inside line. But he's, in fact, Gaz Brown, credit to him, he's just got enough momentum to throw that car round outside and keep the position as well. So Del Smith just drops down slightly. And let's take a look back at the front for Weddle and Smart. Weddle and Smart again are having a really good scrap here as they come through Maggots and Beckett's and back down the hangar straight. Weddle's got just a gap of a 10th or 2 between them, so I wonder if Weddle perhaps is going to make a move within the next lap or 2 because there's 13 and a bit minutes left in this race. So if Weddle wants 5th place and then some, he's got to get a move on now. Kieran Smart just again taking a very narrow defensive line as they make their way around Stowe Corner. Let's see what happens as they go into club for the 7th time. They're asking Weddle just a little bit too far back now, but times that braking point to perfection, it must be said. Can he just keep the car nice and smooth and round club corner? Perhaps he'll make a move down that Wellington Straight and into Brooklands. That seems to be where drivers are looking to get involved. Crozier and once more coming under a little bit of pressure there. The 47 of Crozier and Gaz Brown. Once again, a really good start between those guys, heading just a good bit down the road now. So Martin looks like he's got 8th place secured with a 59.7. Crozier and Brown are scrapping. It's costing them time. Look at that, it's 2-minute 1 and a 2-minute 0.4 for Gaz Brown. So that is good news for Mark Heron, as he can now turn his attention to Ronald Grossman in front of him. Let's see Michael Weddle now. He's chosen this lap to make a move because this will be the last lap of the race. Weddle on the outside into Brooklands though, so Kieran Smart will surely have this one covered. But if Weddle can just keep that car there, that will give him the inside line into Luffield. He uses all the curb to just hook that car in, and that's a really good bit of driving there from Michael Weddle. Just parts the car on the apex as well, just to fend off the threat of Kieran Smart. But of course he's going to be vulnerable through Maggots and Beckett's and down the hanger straight. Kieran Smart will not give this one up without a fight. He's had a very good race so far. He's not going to make a move into Cops Corner, so he's just going to bide his time, and then perhaps it could be the hanger straight, it could be slow, it could even be the final corner at club. That Kieran Smart is not out of this race just yet, and he's going to just keep this car nice and smooth, nice and controlled, and then pick his moan. Back at the front, Danny Henney. That gap's dropped all the way down to 0.5 of a second. So Danny Henney had a bit of a moment the last time round. There was a 2-minute 0.3. It was a 58.9 for Fraser Williamson. So Fraser Williamson very much in slipstream range. But Danny Henney, if he can just get his braking point time to perfection, he'll have the win wrapped up. But there it is. Kieran Smart goes into the inside. Round Stowe Corner. Michael Weddle keeping that car pinned on the exit. Can he keep that car Can he keep a hold of 5th place position? But it's Danny Henney who now comes across the start-finish line to take race number 1 victory here tonight. 0.5 of a second the gap between him and Fraser Williamson, but it's this scrap here with Weddle back into 5th place. He's got the move on Kieran Smart. Well wrapped up. A really good scrap between those two guys. So it's Weddle in 5th place, Kieran Smart in 6th, Ronald Grossman in 7th, Mark Heron from 8th place, Richard Crozier and Gaz Brown having a really good scrap for 9th and 10th. And that is all she wrote for race number 1. So Richard Crozier, there he is, just a gap of a couple of tenths of a second in the end from him and Gaz Brown. Dale Smith in the green and white car, not too far back either. But it was a comfortable victory, it must be said, for Danny Henney. He made that one look very easy, just really good, consistent laps. And Fraser Williamson, once he was out the slipstream range, there wasn't much he could do, unfortunately. So it's Henney from Williamson, with Adam Brown taking the final step of the podium. Jack Hare in 4th place in the end. Adam Brown, credit to Adam Brown, started this one in 9th place and finishing in P3. So a very, very good drive from him. Jackie Chalmers, again, another driver, said a very strong race. Started this one in 22nd and is going to come across the start-finish line in 14th place. So a very good bit of driving from the 321 car, keeping the car out of trouble and picking up a good haul of points into the bargain as well. So Chalmers in 14th, James McIntosh looking like he's going to come home in 15th place, with a good gap between him and Cameron Ritchie, and then it'll be Jonathan Glover in 17th place. A number of cars, unfortunately, didn't manage to finish this race, with Josh Hislop in the pit, so he'll start from 19th, unfortunately. Nathan Lamond, Aidan Wilson, John Higgins in 22nd as well. So Kyle Power, another driver with lots of pace. So these guys have all got their work cut out in race number 2 and indeed race number 3 here tonight. So Henney from Williamson, Adam Brown in 3rd place. So not long to go before race number 2. The drivers have got a minute or so and then the action gets underway once more. So Ayr, Weddle and Kieran Smart treated us to some fantastic racing. So hopefully we'll see more of the same in race number 2. But under 10 seconds was the gap between Henney and the top 5 of Michael Weddle. So just shows just how close the action has been in these Formula Renault cars. And the action's been very, very good here once more at Silverstone. The drivers all seem to be very keen on this track as a whole. Very, very favourable comments after the action in the TCRs, the national circuit. Enjoyed it in the international cars as well, in the TCRs. So it's been a good addition to our overall season. And the Grand Prix track, of course, one of the iconic venues in all of motorsport. So the lights go out once more for race number 2. It's the red car of Henny starting this one from the front. Williamson on the inside, of course, and they get away, but it's a very good start for Ronald Grossman, and an excellent start from him up into sixth place. But Michael Weddell's had a bit of a disaster, unfortunately for him. Weddell goes tumbling down the order down into 12th, 11th place. Back at the front, though, it looks like Henny's going to come under a little bit of pressure. There's been a crash at the back with Crozier involved because he's gone tumbling down the order. Henny still leading though. Henny from Williams and Jack Eyre in third. He's got the move on Adam Brown at the start. So Jack Eyre goes into third place. Kieran Smart into fifth. Ronald Grossman into sixth. Mark Heron in seventh. Michael Weddell's just had a good recovery there in the last couple of corners and pulled that car into 8th place from 11th. But it's Henny who leads the way from Fraser Williams and Jack Eyre. Very close there, and he's got a good gap between him and Adam Brown as well. So if Eyre can just keep in the slipstream for a couple of laps, that will allow him just to focus on the 2 cars ahead of him. Kieran Smart in 5th place. Ronald Grossman, one to keep an eye on, I suspect, in this one, into 6th place. Mark Heron, again a driver who had a very impressive opener, and he is currently 7th place at the moment. So Danny Henny looking to break the toe, going down the old start-finish straight, which he's quite entitled to do. Goes through Cops Corner, takes it nice and cleanly. Williamson a little bit more ragged, however, on the exit, and I wonder if that's just dropped him back a tenth or two as they go through Maggots Beckett's for the first time of asking. It's a tenth and a bit is a gap between Henny and Williamson, so Williamson could well have a bit of a move here, in fact, down the Hangar Straight. Let's see what he decides to do here, because he's going to take all the slipstream of Danny Henny in the red car. In fact, look at that. He's now committed to the inside line. He's got a very good run on the inside into Stoke Corner, and if he can just time that, in fact, he has made that move. I was just going to say, if he could time his braking point to perfection, he'll make that stick, and it looks like he's done just that. Henny not giving it up without a fight, though. He's got that nose back in front, but he's crucially on the outside line into Club Corner, because Fraser Williamson is going to keep that car very much punching. In fact, there's contact between the pair of them. Henny and Williamson come together at Club Corner. Henny manages to keep the car facing the right way, but he goes tumbling down the order. We'll have to see if that was contact there between the two, or it was perhaps a bit of a technical fault. But Henny and Williamson come together on lap number 1. Henny lights up the rear wheel tyres, and he goes tumbling down the order. He's in 15th and 15th place at the moment, trading that with Sean Dobie, so he just dropped down slightly to 16th, in fact. But it's Fraser Williamson who now leads the race, and does he have damage? That is the big question. Does he have damage at the front of that car? And will that bring Jack Eyre into a possible race-winning situation? Because he's going to commit. He's going to make the move in. Brooklands here, and he's made it stick. His Jack Eyre, he goes into the lead of this race, and he's going to cover off a cutback from Fraser Williamson round Luffield. Williamson just licking his wounds here a little bit on lap number 2. Adam Brown, Kieran Smart, Ronald Grossman, all very much capable of getting involved in this one as well. Josh Hislop, look at that. That's a fantastic couple of laps from Josh Hislop. Started in 19th and up into 9th place. Credit where it's due. That's a tremendous bit of driving from Joshua Hislop. Owen Ross in 10th place, started in 13th again. The driver who had a good opener, and he'll be, I suspect, keen to keep in the top 10 for this one. But Josh Hislop is very much going to be a driver worth keeping an eye on here in this one. Back at the front, Jack Eyre coming under a little bit of pressure. 0.2 of a second, the gap between him and Fraser Williamson, with Adam Brown, Kieran Smart not too far back either. Williamson committing very, very early down the Hangar Straight as Adam Brown looks to follow his toe, as does Kieran Smart. So it could potentially be in a situation where we go 3 wide here into Stoke Corner, but it's Williamson in the lead. Adam Brown backs out of it. Jack Eyre is forced to go wide. That is going to bring Adam Brown into contention here. Fraser Williamson won't have to defend this position too much, because in fact Kieran Smart's getting involved as well, just thinking better of it and backing out at the last moment into Club Corner. So it's Eyre from Brown with Kieran Smart in 4th place. Ronald Grossman just dropping back slightly, 7/8 of a second from him and Kieran Smart. There he is, Ronald Grossman in the red and white car. And then it's Mark Heron in 6th place. But Kyle Power, another driver worth giving a shout out to, started in 18th and up into 7th place and posting the fastest lap of anyone into the bargain last time out with a 1:58.9. But it's Williamson leading the way from Jack Eyre. Now Williamson has made the move, and he's got a gap of 0.2 of a second from the Rethink Racing driver. But let's take a look at the red car of Danny Henry, who's back into 11th place. But there's been contact between Dale Smith and Nathan Lamon, both of them just coming together at Village, unfortunately. Dale Smith managing to get the car up and running again quicker than Lamond. So it just looks like there's a couple of tangles now in race number 2 here, unfortunately. But Kyle Power is one of the drivers who's really been keeping that car clean and out of trouble. The green car of Kyle Power setting his sights on the blue and white car of Mark Herring here as they come around Woodcote and down the old start-finish straight. Let's see if Kyle Powell's got enough about him to make a move into Cops Corner, because he's got a very good run there. A little bit of slipstream will help as well. He's got the inside line, so surely Herring will have to yield. He does just that. A nice clean move. Well done to Kyle Power. Now he's got to set sights on Ronald Grossman, who's a second and a bit further up the roads. But Mark Herring, again, won't be keen to give that one up without a fight. Michael Weddle, of course, will be keen to get involved as well, into 8th place at the moment for him. Dale Smith, there he is. He's just had that recovery drive, so it's 15th place for him. Richard Crozier, Sean Dobie, and Jackie Chalmers all further up the road, and they'll be keen to make a move on them. So it's Williamson 4/10 of a second now is the gap from Jackie, so he's doubled it in a lap or so. Adam Brown 6/10 of a second, so a little bit further back now to Michael Weddle, 7th place. He's going to perhaps make a move, but there's been contact, and it's Mark Herring who's the victim of it. But I wonder if it's perhaps been Herring losing that onto his own power. So I think Herring's perhaps just got that car a little bit loose on exit, and managing to just thankfully keep it out of trouble. So Herring's not lost too much time really in the grand scheme of things. It could have been a whole lot worse, but Weddle managing to make the move stick and into 7th place in this race. So Jack Hare now just dropping a little bit back from Fraser Williamson, so still very much in the slipstream range, so that'll help him fend off their threat somewhat from Adam Brown, Kieran Smart. Kieran Smart, let's take a look at him on board now. He's got those two cars, and it will be almost a bit of a double tow here as he makes his way around the entry and down the Wellington Straight for the 4th time of asking in race number 2. Kieran Smart's going to get a really good tow down here, but he's just a little bit too far back to make a move into Brooklands. Adam Brown, though, isn't. He's going to throw the car up the inside, though, but crucially, he goes on to the outside, of course, into Luffield. So Jack Hare locks up. In fact, Jack Hare locks up. That forces him to come wide and gets Kieran Smart into the mix here as well. Could Kieran Smart potentially make a move on Adam Brown here as well? Maybe he'll make a move here into Cox Corner, because he's got a very good run out of Woodcote. Takes a little bit of slipstream into the bargain as well. In fact, he's not quite just enough there, unfortunately for him. So Kieran Smart stays in 4th place, but it's Brown and Eyre in front of him. Just a little bit further back, though, Ronald Grossman's had an incident, and he is now in pit lane, as is the Rethink Racing driver of Michael Weddle. So both cars have had a little bit of a moment. Let's see if we can find out what happened here. Here's the red 90 car of Ronald Grossman. Let's see. He makes his way around Luffield Corner here. The car just gets a little bit loose on exit, unfortunately for him. And there's nowhere, unfortunately for Michael Weddle, that he can go. It's on the racing line. The car has got serious damage in there. The front right looks like it's hanging off. Ronald Grossman, Michael Weddle, both into the pits, and unfortunately out of this race at the midway point. Back at the front, though, 1.1 seconds now is the gap between Williamson and Eyre, so Eyre is going to be just out that slipstream range now, or just beginning to fall out of the slipstream range, and now will be falling into the clutches of Kieran Smart, because look at that, Kieran Smart has made the move indeed on Jack Hare. So Jack Hare has gone tumbling down the order into 3rd place, but again back into the slipstream. Will he make a move here into Village Corner eventually as they make their way around Abbey and Farm? Will he just throw that car up the inside and try and get 2nd place once more? Thinks better of it as Kieran Smart gets that well covered off. So it's been, again, a good bit of driving from Kieran Smart, securing 2nd place so far in this race. So it's Smart from Eyre, Adam Brown in 4th place, Kyle Power up into 5th place in this race. So Fraser Williamson, again, has just got a gap of now 1.8 seconds. So it's been a bit of a role reversal between Henny and Williamson. Henny had the race number 1 fairly well wrapped up. It looks like Williamson is going to do the same here in race number 2. But Jack Hare, Kieran Smart are very much looking to scrap for 2nd place. Eyre coming around Luffield now for the 5th time here in the 2nd race. Just a gap of a couple of tenths of a second between him and Smart. So don't think he's going to make a move into Cox. It may well be the hanger straight and into Stowe. So if he can just keep that car planted in the slipstream, then he could perhaps make a move. But Jack Hare is a driver that we know just he's got lots and lots of pace, and really, really good on the brakes as well. Very, very aggressive, and can just make a move stick. So Jack Hare, one to keep an eye on here as they make their way around Maggots and Beckett's. And Kieran Smart keeping the car nice and composed, nice and balanced. A little bit of it far from the apex for his liking, I'm sure, though, as he comes out of Chapel. So that's going to bring Jack Hare into the mix here. It goes right into that slipstream. When will he dart out of it, though? Because Kieran Smart isn't covering the inside line here. He thinks he's got enough here to keep this one under wraps. Jack Hare, in fact, is thinking better of it. Jack Hare's going to stay into 3rd at the moment. Will he perhaps throw the car up the inside the club, or is he looking at the timings and thinking there's 5 and a bit minutes left to go in this race? I don't necessarily want to be in second place at the moment. I might bide my time and then make a move on the last lap of this race. So maybe Jackie is just going to perhaps play the long game here and make a move towards the end of this race. But Adam Brown just dropping a little bit further back in fourth. Then he's got the green card of Kyle Power in 5th place. Josh Hislop, again, a terrific recovery drive from him into 6th place in this one. He will be absolutely delighted with this one, and rightly so. Danny Henny, though, has also had a very strong recovery drive and up into 7th place after that moment earlier. So still a good haul of points for him, because, of course, this Autumn Cup, still very much all to play for. Lots of positions to be won and lost in this one. Kieran Smartlet's just got a gap of, I reckon, about 2 and a bit tenths of a second between him and Jack Hare. Jack Hare's not going to make a move into Brooklyn surely this time round, and Kieran Smart again just got that move covered, and he'll just take a very, very narrow line around Luffield to shut the door on Jack Hare and prevent any opportunity of Hare making a move into that corner. So Jack Hare's got to think again here with 4 and a bit minutes left to go in this race. 3rd place at the moment for Jack Hare, and started this one, of course, from the second row of the grid and in 4th place. Very, very close into Cops, but just not got enough to make it move, to make it stick. But I wonder if Stowe Corner is where Jack Hare is going to make a move, because he's coming very, very close up the rear wing of Kieran Smart, but just not quite darting out of the slipstream. So let's keep an eye on that fight between the two of them. Further back, though, Aidan Wilson, car number 12 in 12th place at the moment, looking to make a move on Del Smith in 11th. And let's see if Aidan Wilson's got enough about that one. So we'll keep an eye on those two, because there's a couple of tenths of a second between both of them. Jack Hare, again, just biding his time and patience into Stowe, not making a move. So it might not be this lap or the next lap. It might be the last one where Jack Hare decides to show his hand. And there's Aidan Wilson now. Got plenty of slipstream on Del Smith, so in fact he's been forced wide onto the outside line. He's already got his nose in front. He's already got 11th place, and in fact he's already got the corner. That's a good overtake from Aidan Wilson, so he takes 11th from this race from Del Smith, and Del Smith has just dropped back a little bit there and won't be able to have a bite back into club corner. Back at the front, Kieran Smart is still in 2nd place in this race, and it still looks like a gap of a couple of tenths of a second between him and Jack Hare. Adam Brown not being able to force himself into this battle. I think Jack Hare's just had a little bit of a moment there, so it's a 159.7 last time out. Adam Brown was a 159.2, so Adam Brown just beginning to reel them in and perhaps looking to get involved into this mix as well. So 3rd place still very much all for Gaz, but 2nd place is the one that they want. So Kieran Smart's in that position at the moment, and again takes a very, very narrow line around Luffield. That's a recurring theme from Kieran Smart's defensive driving here. He's not wanting to give the drivers any possibility of a move into Cop's corner. Let's see what Jack Hare does. Jack commits early, in fact, because he's got a very good run out of Woodcote. So Jack Hare has got the inside line into Cop's corner. Kieran Smart will surely have to yield. He does just that, and Jack Hare goes into 2nd place in this race. However, Hare has run very, very wide on the exit of Cop, so that's going to bring Kieran Smart into contention as we ride on board with him through Maggots and into the Beckett's and Chapel section here. Let's see if Kieran Smart can make a move stick here. I suspect we're about to approach the final lap of this race, because there's 13 and a bit minutes left in this one. So Kieran Smart's just going to sit in the slipstream and then look to take 2nd place back once more from Jack Hare. Will he commit and just have a little bit of a move here, because he's very, very close indeed? He decides to just bide his time and stay in 3rd place in this race. So this will certainly be the final lap of the race just coming up here. Fraser Williamson, 3.6 seconds is the gap between him and Jack Hare at the moment. And Hare coming under a little bit of pressure, in fact, from club corner. Adam Brown, though, is the one to keep an eye on here as well. Can he muscle his way in and get involved? 4th place at the moment for him, because Kyle Power, Josh Hislop just a little bit too far back, I suspect. So I wonder if Adam Brown could make a move here and get himself into podium contention. Further back, though, Aidan Brown, Del Smith, they've been having a really good scrap throughout this race, and Aidan Wilson's just got a gap of half a second or so from Del Smith. So I wonder if Del Smith can perhaps make a move here into through the Maggots and Beckett section and down into the hangar straight, because he's just a little bit too far back at the moment. So he's going to have to bide his time here as they make their way through the infield section for the last time in race number 2. So it's been a very interesting race, this one. But Kyle Power and Josh Hislop are the two who have very much impressed. And Kyle Power has got one step further because Adam Brown's had a little bit of a moment. He's gone from 4th to 6th in a couple of corners, and you can see all the smoke from those rear tyres coming off the car. So something's gone wrong. Let's take a look and follow the pink alloy car now. Car number 8 just takes a little bit too much curb, unfortunately, and manages to spin the car around quickly and covers off the threat, I suspect, of Danny Henny. In fact, he doesn't, because Danny Henny's made the move into Kopp's corner. He momentarily had enough there, did Adam Brown. But Adam Brown and Henny, they go side by side into Maggots. The red car of Henny just backing out of it. Will he then perhaps make a move into Stowe? Kieran Smart into second place, and Jack Eyre, though Kieran Smart still managing to hold on to second place in this race. Mark Heron come under a little bit of pressure from the impressive Richard Crozier, who's had a good couple of races in 10th place at the moment. Back at the front, Williamson from Smart and Eyre. Jack Eyre has made the move, though. Jack Eyre has made the move into club corner, but it's Williamson who's going to take the checkered flag for race number 2. He's got Jack Eyre behind him, Kieran Smart into 3rd place, but it's been a very comfortable drive for Fraser Williamson, who takes the win in race number 2. Jack Eyre, it's not been quite as comfortable a drive as he would have liked as they go side by side across the finish line, but Jack Eyre holds on to second place. Kieran Smart in 3rd, Kyle Power in 4th, Josh Hislop in 5th, and Adam Brown, fortunately for him, goes from 3rd to 6th in the last lap. So it's Williamson taking the win from Jack Eyre. Kieran Smart in 3rd place. That was a rather eventful race, wasn't it? So it's lots of big talking points from that one. And let's see how the final couple of positions pan out. Just Cameron Ritchie in 16th place. Nathan Lamond going to come home in 15th. So it's been a decent recovery drive for him. In fact, 14th for Nathan Lamond and 15th for Cameron Ritchie, because Richard Crozier is out and he's pulled that car into the pit, so he's had a bit of a moment on the last lap, unfortunately. Michael Weddle got the car back out of pits and finished in 19th ahead of Ronald Grossman, who also, of course, had a bit of an incident. Of course, all drivers, they will all collect points in those positions, but it's been a disappointing event, unfortunately, for Michael Weddle, and indeed for Ronald Grossman, because that second race looked very, very promising for him. But he will now start the 3rd and final race from 20th on the grid. But of course, we've got a reverse grid to contend with for the finale, and it will be Owen Ross who will start that one from pole position ahead of Danny Henny. So it's been a dramatic race number 2 here at Silverstone, and I'm very much looking forward to see what this finale has got in store for us here, because lots of big talking points, but lots of drivers impressing as well, it must be said, making very, very good drives throughout the field. Aidan Wilson, another one worth giving a shout out to, starting in 20th and finishing at race number 2 in 10th place. So we'll take a quick look at the results for race number 2. It was Williamson from 4.8 seconds in the end from Jack Eyre. Him and Kieran Smart having a terrific scrap in that one. Kyle Power with an impressive drive in 4th place. Josh Hislop with an equally impressive drive in 5th. Adam Brown, unfortunately, finishing this one in 6th after being in podium contention for so long. Danny Henny recovering into 7th place. Owen Ross in 8th. Mark Heron, Aidan Wilson rounding out the top 10 from 20th place. Credit to Aidan with a very strong drive. Dale Smith, Sean Doby, Jackie Chalmers, Nathan Lamond, Cameron Ritchie makes up your top 15. And then it's Jonathan Glover, James McIntosh, and then Michael Weddle, Ronald Grossman, Richard Crozier, John Higgins Jr. and Gaz Brown rounding out the final positions in race number 2. So we're going to take a break for a few minutes or so as the drivers do a little bit of a warm-up ahead of race number 3. If there's a couple of drivers who've caught your eye, give us a shout-out in the comments from wherever you're watching. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. So let us know who you think the driver of the day should be, and we'll award that accolade after race number 3 here tonight. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be back for race number 3 in a few moments' time. So, welcome back to coverage of the SMRC Esports Racing Autumn Cup, presented by Sim Broadcast and powered by Reese Motorsport Insurance. It's Andy Alston with you here for the final event here at Silverstone tonight in the Formula Renault cars, and what a dramatic 2 races we've had so far. It was Danny Heney who won in race number 1 ahead of Fraser Williamson, then it was Williamson who took the top step of the podium in race number 2. But in the finale, it will be Owen Ross who starts this race from pole position because of the top 8 reverse grid. So it will be Owen Ross from Danny Heney, followed by Adam Brown. And then it's Josh Hislop in row number 2. Kyle Power starts this one in 5th place alongside the impressive Kieran Smart. And it's Jack Hare in 7th place alongside our overall champion Fraser Williamson. Mark Heron will start this one from 9th place. Then it's Aidan Wilson rounding out the top 10. Dale Smith starts from 11th with Sean Dobie in 12th, and it's Jackie Chalmers in 13th, followed by Nathan Lamond, Cameron Ritchie, Jonathan Glover, James McIntosh, Michael Weddle, Ron Grossman, Richard Crozier. Then it's John Higgins and Gaz Brown on the final row of the grid here tonight. So we're all set for the third and final race here at Silverstone. It's Owen Ross leading the way on the outside from the red car of Danny Heney. As the lights come out, they go 5. And they go early once more, and it's a very, very good start from Danny Heney. He's already into the lead of this race. That's been a stunning getaway from the red car, and he's got the lead of this race covered from Owen Ross. Owen Ross now looking vulnerable from Adam Brown, Josh Hislop, Kyle Power, the chasing pack, all looking to make a move here. Owen Ross goes down into 3rd place because Adam Brown has got that move stuck already before they even hit the loop in Aintree. So it's Heney from Brown, Owen Ross, and Josh Hislop in 4th place. Jack Hare on the inside here dropped into 8th place. So he's dropped 1 place from where he started. Fraser Williamson's got a move into 5th place. It looks like John Higgins is out of this race already, or perhaps having a technical moment because he's just jumping up and down the order on the left-hand side of your screen. Jack Hare is just unfortunately dropped down into 9th place after starting this one from 7th place. And he's coming under a little bit of pressure from Dale Smith, Nathan Lamond, and Aidan Wilson. So it's Heney, meanwhile, at the front, 3/10 of a second, the gap between him and Adam Brown, with Owen Ross in 3rd place. But Owen Ross now coming under a little bit of pressure from Josh Hislop. Hislop not quite managing to get that move on into Cop's corner just yet. But Kyle Power, Kieran Smart, Fraser Williamson, all looking to make moves as well, all looking very, very lively. Jack Heron, meanwhile, just almost a little bit out the toe there, and that's going to make him vulnerable here as they come through Markets and Beckett's to the likes of Nathan Lamond, Wilson, Dobie. There's been a little bit of a puff of smoke further back, and it looks like one car's just gone off. It's James McIntosh lost a front wing, unfortunately for him, so it's been a disastrous start here. But meanwhile, though, we've got one car on the grass here, and it's in contact with Fraser Williamson. Fraser Williamson goes upside down, and dearie me. In fact, I beg your pardon, it wasn't Fraser Williamson, it was another car indeed. I think it was Owen Ross and Josh Hislop. They've gone side by side down the hangar straight, and it's all ended in tears. It's Josh Hislop into the pitch with a severely damaged car. Let's get a look at that. Fraser Williamson's well out your screen, so it's nothing to do with Williamson. Hislop's forced wide there, off track, and there's not really much that Josh Hislop can do there, I have to say. He's off onto the grass, and then just doesn't back out of it, and finds himself upside down into the bargain. So he goes wide, there's no track available to him, can't back out, and it all ends in tears, unfortunately. So not been a good lap, unfortunately, for him. Finds himself on the grass down the hangar straight, and going at that speed, it's very, very unlikely that it's going to end well. But Fraser Williamson in 3rd place now from Kyle Power. Kieran Smart in 5th, Nathan Lamond in 6th, Michael Weddle into 7th place. So Lamond and Weddle have been 2 of the real winners from the drama of the first couple of laps. Michael Weddle started in 18th. Nathan Lamond started in 14th, so they're both 6th and 7th respectively, so good couple of laps from them. Meanwhile, Fraser Williamson coming under a little pressure here from the green car of Kyle Power, and then Kieran Smart not too far behind either. Williamson just again using a very, very wide line on runoff into Cop's corner, and just managing to hold on to the final podium position at the moment with 3 and a bit minutes gone so far in this race. Kyle Power and Kieran Smart, though, both perhaps going to work together to use the slipstream and close the gap on Fraser Williamson, because if they don't work together here, Williamson's going to set off into the sunset with the pace that he's got, and that will rule both of them out of a podium position. Now, all the meanwhile, Danny Haney and Adam Brown are just got a good gap between Williamson, Power and Smart. So it's going to be a difficult one for those guys. They're going to have to just bide their time if they want to really make their way up the order. So let's take a look just back at the front, and it's Danny Haney leading the way with just a gap of about half a second between him and Adam Brown. So Adam Brown very much in the slipstream range still as they make their way round the track for the third time of asking. Fraser Williamson, the fastest man out on track with 158.4. That's at least 2 and a bit tenths of a second quicker than Adam Brown, who's we ride on board with now. Brown looking to put Haney under a little bit of pressure here as they make their way round the loop and through into Aintree and eventually up that Wellington straight. But it looks like Haney's certainly got enough about himself just to fend off the threat into Brooklands. He goes very, very narrow early. In fact, he's just trying to break the toe of Adam Brown just to reduce the risk of Brown getting a move in there. But it looks like Kieran Smart might be one who's going to make a move on Kyle Power. In fact, just breaks it very, very early. Thinks better of it as they go into Brooklands. So Kieran Smart just going to play the long game once more. Further behind, though, James McIntosh and Mark Heron having a bit of a scrap here. Heron in the lead in 15th place with James. In fact, Heron's just gone past in that one there. So James McIntosh looking to defend that move. So again, 2 drivers worth keeping an eye on here. Ronald Grossman's had a very strong recovery drive, started this one in 19th, and Nathan Lamond, unfortunately for him, has had a little bit of a moment, and he is started this one in 6th place and now finds himself in 10th. Back at the front though, Kyle Power and Kieran Smart, they are now just dropping back from Fraser Williamson. Williamson getting a move on here with some very fast times, and that means that it's going to be Power and Smart battling for 4th place and not 3rd as things stand, because we're over a third of the way through this race, and it's Haney from Brown with Fraser Williamson in 3rd place. So let's take a look at the front, because it's down to 0.2 of a second between Haney and Brown. Would Adam Brown perhaps be thinking about making a move here? Because he's certainly putting Danny Haney under a lot of pressure here. The red car of Haney soaking it up well though as they make their way through Club Corner. It's very clean on entry and exit for Danny Haney. In fact, just takes a little hop off the curb for good measure. And these Formula Renault cars, we spoke about it at the start. How would they handle the curbs? A couple of the drivers are just getting a little bit loose on exit and unfortunately find themselves pointing the wrong way around. Adam Brown, will he think? It looks like it's a little bit of a half move here into Village. He's just wanting to get Haney looking in his rear view mirrors and just get Haney trying to almost make him doubt himself here as they go through the loop and into the entry. It's a nice clean exit for Adam Brown, so he's going to use all the slipstream and then some to make a move. Haney sees that and Haney commits very, very early to take a narrow defensive line. He's going to try and perhaps squeeze Brown on the exit. He's just trying to get out the slipstream range here. Now Haney's coming under a little bit of pressure now. Haney's going defensive. He knows that Adam Brown's got plenty of pace. And in fact, Haney's just gone a tad wide there initially, but then hooks the apex up and they exit nicely into Luffield. So Haney and Brown having a good scrap here. It's still 0.2 of a second is the gap as they go across the old start-finish line. Adam Brown, interestingly, isn't really sitting in that slipstream quite as much as you would suspect. So I wonder if he's just quite happy at the moment as we approach the midway point in this race. Just happy to sit in the slipstream and then again perhaps make a move later on in this race, because he's certainly close enough to make a move but just not doing so at the moment. Kyle Power and Kieran Smart though again having a really good scrap for 4th place. It's Power leading the way in that green car with Kieran Smart a couple of tenths of a second further down the road. Smart will once more get a very good toe down the hanger straight though, and Haney and Brown once more. Look at that, there's not even a tenth of a second between them. Haney is going narrow and he's going defensive. Adam Brown momentarily puts that car into the lead of the race, but he's on the outside, and that wheel-to-wheel, they're almost touching on exit. Adam Brown goes into the lead of the race. There's under a tenth of a second between them as they go into Club Corner. Side stuff. This is great action. Haney, the red car on the inside, will he have enough to make it stick? Adam Brown still got that nose in front, and they come over the Hamilton straight, and Adam Brown makes that move stick with a fantastic bit of driving, and he goes into the lead of this race. So it's Adam Brown leading the way on lap number 5 from Danny Haney, with Fraser Williamson rounding out the final podium position at the moment. Don't count Fraser Williamson out of this one just yet, because he is gradually reeling in those two fighting at the front, with Kyle Power and Kieran Smart both waiting in the wings as well. So we've got a really good fight on our hands for not just the race win, but the final podium positions and then some between all these drivers. So it's very much all to play for here as Adam Brown goes very, very narrow and defensive into Brooklands. Danny Henny goes a long way round, momentarily goes in front, but now he's got the inside into Luffield. Yes, it just goes side by side. He's almost just half a car width behind Adam Brown. I wonder if Adam Brown's got enough to just live to fight another day here. Adam Brown is, of course, on the exit, but he's got a little bit of momentum. He's got that nose in front at the moment. So Henny's on the inside, but he's not quite side by side. So does Adam Brown have enough about him to make this move stick? And they go side by side once more, almost touching on exit. Still side by side on exit as they go into the Maggots and Beggets section. Danny Henny just has a bit of a weave out wide. This is bringing Fraser Williamson into contention here. Look at the run Williamson's got on both of them here. Don't be surprised if Williamson makes a move down the hanger straight, because Adam Brown and Danny Henny have come together. They've lost it. They've lost it on Chapel. Off goes. Oh, dearie me. Both go off. And Kyle Powers also gone very wide as well. We've just saw that green card dart off at the edge of our screen. Let's get a replay here. So Adam Brown leading the race at the moment. Here's Danny Henny in the red car, in the silent chair, and just Adam Brown, he loses it, unfortunately, for him then, and then he collides with Kyle Power, just tags him. That's nothing that either driver could do. It's really unfortunate stuff. Really unfortunate for Kyle Power, because he's crashed into that barrier as well, and he is into the pits. So it looks like it's Fraser Williamson leading 1.6 seconds from Danny Henny, and Danny Henny is coming under pressure now from Kieran Smart, because Kieran Smart is going to take second place in this race, I suspect, because he's not quite giving up this one up without a fight. Henny's got second place, but Henny is coming under a lot of pressure here from Kieran Smart, who has been in fabulous form from start to finish. Third place at the moment for Kieran, with Michael Weddle in fourth place. Weddle's a little bit down the road here, so Kieran Smart can turn his attention fully on Danny Henny here. Fraser Williamson, however, will be absolutely delighted. Started this one in 8th place, and he is now leading and on course to win 2 races from 2 here at Silverstone, because it's a gap of 1.8 seconds between him and the red car of Danny Henny, who is still coming under sustained pressure from the relentless Kieran Smart here. 3rd place at the moment as they come around Luffield for the 6th time they've asking. We've got that's about 3 and a bit minutes left in this race, so Danny Henny is going to have to get the elbows out here for a couple of laps and just try and hang on to second place here, because Kieran Smart has got bags of pace here. Danny Henny, of course, had a major moment last time out with a 2-minute 2. Kieran Smart was a 59.9. That's a 59.4 for Michael Weddle as well. So Danny Henny's just looking to just dust himself down here and secure second place in this race, because, of course, after a disappointing race number 2, he's trying to get as many points as he can here for this Autumn Cup to set him up nicely for the finale in Suzuka in 2 weeks' time. Kieran Smart, though, 0.2 of a second is the gap. He's not going to make a move this time around as they go through Stowe Corner. I reckon it'll be 2 laps left in this race, so Danny Henny has got to defend with all of his might here. Again, he's not going to take a narrow line into Club Corner. He thinks he's got it already sealed off from Kieran Smart. Kieran just a little bit loose there on exit as the 39 car, and again takes a big bit of curb on the inside as well, but now he's got a very good run down the Hamilton straight and into Abbey, but Abbey's not really an overtaking opportunity. You've got to bide your time through Farm and then into that right-hander at Village and the Loop. That's where you can perhaps make a move. But what we're seeing is drivers are just again biding their time and then using the slipstream of the Wellington Straight to get the move done into Brooklands, and if you can get it sealed off, they don't risk a cut back into Luffield as well. So looks like it's been a good couple of corners for Danny Henny, because there's a bit of breathing space now between him and Kieran Smart. So Kieran Smart in 3rd place at the moment. Fraser Williamson, the gap is down to 1.2 seconds. So Danny Henny was 0.3 of a second quicker than Williamson last time out, despite coming under pressure from Kieran Smart. So Williamson's had a little bit of a... in fact, that was last time out was his best lap of the race with 59.5. So Danny Henny with a 59.2, we know he's got the pace, but he's got Kieran Smart really causing them all sorts of problems, and that is music to the ears of Fraser Williamson, who can really just turn his attention to the track ahead. It's now the gap is just over a second or so. Danny Henny is very, very close to slipstream range, and look at that, he's now under a second, so he can perhaps use that momentum to fend off Kieran Smart. Henny going very, very wide out of Cops Corner, though. That's bringing Kieran Smart on into contention here as they go through the Maggots and Beckett section, but Smart's just a little bit further back here than last time round. So Kieran Smart in 4th gear throws it up into 5th gear as they go through Chapel. He'll now try and use all of that slipstream from the red car of Danny Haney. That's going to bring him very, very close into Stowe Corner, but will it be close enough to make a move on lap number 7? Let's see if 39 car decides to think of it. Oh no, some drivers would have thrown that car up the inside, but Kieran Smart just nice and sensible and holding on to third place at the moment. He's got a very, very good gap between him and Michael Weddle, so this will be the fight for the top 3 podium positions. It's Williamson now from Henny. It's still a gap of a second between those 2 guys, so Henny really wants to get himself into slipstream range here to help fend off the threat from Kieran Smart, because he's vulnerable to Kieran Smart at the moment. It was a 59.1 for Danny Henny. It was a 59.2 for Kieran Smart, despite having the tow. Kieran Smart not able to post a faster time on lap number 7. For the back though, Adam Brown in 9th place has just made a move there on Dale Smith for 9. So good move there for Adam Brown. So it's just further ahead. John Higgins again into 8th place, started this one in 21st. So a very, very strong drive from him. Cameron Ritchie in 5th place, started in 15th. So a very strong drive from the 41 car. Back at the front, though, it's Kieran Smart still putting pressure and asking questions of the red car of Danny Henny as they go around Luffield for the 8th time of asking. Very narrow line from both drivers there. Meanwhile, Jack Eyre looking to make a move here. Let's see if he's on for 10th place at the moment, but coming under all bits of pressure from Dale Smith. He's managed to make that move, stick on Dale Smith there. The car was very, very wild on exit, but Jack Eyre in rounding out the top 10 as things stand, and this will be the final lap of this race. So let's see if Kieran Smart can make a move here as they go through the Maggots and Beckett section for the last time. Danny Henny takes all the curb and then some. There's a puff of the gravel there on the inside, but Danny Henny's really hooked that up nicely, and I wonder if that will be just enough to hold on to second place in this race. 7/10 of a second behind Fraser Williamson, so he'll get a little bit more of the slipstream than what he's had previously, and I suspect that will be the order, barring a disaster here. Fraser Williamson will make it 2 wins from 2, with Danny Henny in second and Kieran Smart rounding out the podium. Henny goes a little bit wide there on exit into coming out of Stowe Corner, but it's this man here, the Movano Sim Racing driver of Fraser Williamson, who's going to make it 2 wins for 2, and that is 9 wins overall in this Autumn Cup for the 369 car of Fraser Williamson, who crosses the start-finish line and takes the checkered flag for the final race here tonight. So it's Williamson from Henny, Kieran Smart in 3rd place, Michael Weddle finishing in 14th place, and credit to Michael Weddle for starting that one in 18th. That's a sensational bit of driving from the Rethink Racing driver. Cameron Ritchie, equally impressive, started in 15th and round in 5th place, so good bit of driving from him. Sean Dobie as well, started in 12th up into 6th, good performance from him. Adam Brown recovering from a moment earlier. Nathan Lamb and Jack Eyre rounding out the top 10, and wow, that was some really, really good racing throughout. But Fraser Williamson, very happy with his performance there, I suspect, and rounding out an impressive night with a win here tonight. So it's Williamson from Henny, and then Kieran Smart rounding out the podium positions for the finale here at Silverstone. So let's take a little look at some of the drivers just making their way through. Ronald Grossman, and it'll be a race of what could have been for Ronald Grossman, I suspect, because he's shown that he has the pace here, but unfortunately not been able to convert that into results. But a pleasing result all the same, I suspect, for Ronald. Owen Ross in 17th, Gaz Brown in 18th. Just making their way across the line as well. Gaz Brown had shown again glimpses of real promise and potential, but unfortunately in 18th place for him. Josh Hislop recovering into 9th place. Kyle Power bringing that green car home in 20th, and then it'll be Aidan Wilson in 21st, with Jonathan Glover out of this race. And in fact, Aidan Brown has a little bit of a moment coming out of club for the last time, manages to keep the car out of the barriers and cross the start-finish line for 21st place. So, well, there we are. That's 3 dramatic races here tonight, and I've now got the headache of trying to pick a driver of the day. So before I do that, let's run through the order for the final race here tonight. It was Fraser Williamson from 9/10 of a second in the end, ahead of Danny Henny, with Kieran Smart in 3rd place, Michael Weddle in 4th, followed by Cameron Ritchie, Sean Dobie, John Higgins Jr., Adam Brown, Nathan Lamond, and Jack Eyre rounding out the top 10 here tonight. So 3 very, very interesting races, 3 very different races, I think, as well. All offer something kind of unique, but I think for a driver of the day, based on some very, very impressive performances throughout. I would have to give my Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day to Kieran Smart, who finishes the finale in third place. He'll be delighted with that one. Some really strong attacking and defensive driving from Kieran Smart, and he is the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day for the Silverstone event. So congratulations to Kieran Smart, the 39 car. We'll catch up with him and a number of the drivers in just a moment for a series of interviews here tonight. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what a number of the drivers have got to say here actually in this one, because there was lots of big talking points in all three races. So let's see who makes their way into the virtual rating room for a quick chat with us here tonight. Let's start with let's see who it is in. Let's start with our double race winner from Silverstone, and let's catch up with our overall champion. That is, of course, Fraser Williamson. Fraser, you made it 2 wins out of 3 there. Very, very strong driving throughout, and you must be pretty satisfied with how that event's gone.
Yeah, that's not bad, all things considering how race 1 went, where I couldn't put together a full lap to suit myself. Obviously, the contact between myself and Danny in race 2 was unfortunate and probably ruined a good battle. I don't think I deserved either of those wins, but I was there to collect them anyway.
That's part of racing as well, Fraser, isn't it? You know, you've got to be there or thereabouts, and it's all about picking up the points. And it's 9 wins out of 12 for you. Or 9 wins out of 15, I should say. I beg your pardon, but it's been some really strong driving from you throughout. So I mean, what is this? Just do you just feel really dialed in with this Formula Renault car? Is this one where you're really feel that you're managing to get the maximum out of? Because I know you do a lot of GT racing and the LMP sort of racing. So is this Formula car one that you've really grown to enjoy as this championship's gone on?
Not really. No.
You're meant to say yes, Fraser.
Yeah, I know.
It's been great.
No, I'm supposed to love the car, but I don't know. There's very few cars that I properly click with. It's not to say that I'm not enjoying it. It's just I don't feel 100% with it, but I really do feel 100% with a car. It's considering the testing time. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we are. I can't complain about pace. My consistency through race 1, as I've shown all season's been a bit interesting. But yeah, it could be better, but I shouldn't be complaining.
Do you find it's taking a couple of laps just to settle and get the car up to temperature? Because what we're seeing with the Formula is they are quite twitchy in the rear end, and we're seeing a number of drivers taking a little bit. They're being brave with the curbs, but it's catching them out, unfortunately. So do you feel that it's all about just keeping the car nice and composed over the first couple of laps, and then really building on your race from there?
Well, the car's at its fastest around here, at least on lap 1, lap 2. The car feels really quite sketchy for me on the release of the brakes, and from that point onwards, if you start a slide, there's just nothing you can do. You're going to slide all the way out the corner. But yeah, it's one of those that whilst you're on those cold tyres, albeit they're fastest, you kind of get pricked into this sense that it's fast, I can drive it in hard, when the grip just isn't there to do so. But once you get further into the race, the car starts to feel nicer, but it's just slower. So I think people are just getting tricked into this is when the car's fastest, this is when I can drive the hardest, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And turning our attention to the final race in this Autumn Cup, it's at Suzuka. What's your thoughts going into this one? Is that a track you're looking forward to racing?
Not overly. I've got a well-known history of spinning on the curbs there. Spoon has got me far too many times than I'd like to admit. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if I can just make it around the track for all 3 races and not spoon.
Fraser, I'm sure you'll be there or thereabouts. You're talking yourself down there. You're a driver with plenty of pace, and it'll be very interesting to see how things unfold in the final race here of the Autumn Cup. Fraser, congratulations on another impressive performance here tonight, and we look forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks' time.
Cheers.
That's Fraser Williamson there, and let's catch up with our driver of the day, and that is, of course, Kieran Smart with 3 fabulous drives here tonight. Kieran, many congratulations. You are our Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day. Just talk us through that event from your perspective.
Yeah, thank you for driver of the day. Yeah, it was really good. Very clean racing, good side-by-side battles. Room was left as well, so yeah, it was really good.
And it was one of those races as well where, Kieran, you had to do a little bit of everything. You had to be attacking, but you also had to be keeping an eye on the rear view mirrors and doing plenty of defending as well. And there's some really good scraps between you and a number of drivers. Was there a particular place on track that you were looking to perhaps make moves, or perhaps just trying to park the car on the apex?
I think getting onto the straights, just trying to get the traction out the corners because the slipstream was just so strong that you would just get past. And I went defensive into Stowe on Jack Air, and it probably wasn't the right move to do, but it was so hard to judge.
And it's one of those ones as well, Kieran, where we're just seeing, we were noticing a lot of drivers making moves into Brooklands, but then, of course, they've been vulnerable in the cut back into Luffield, and that's just been one of those parts of the track where it's all about being patient more than anything, because the nature of there being 2 almost never-ending left into a never-ending right-hand corner, it can be quite easy, I think, to get frustrated in these cars and then risk overdriving it, and you're off the racing line, and then you're into all sorts of trouble.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially getting on the power. It's so easy just to loop the car, so yeah, you've got to be patient.
Yeah, absolutely. And turn your attention to the final race of the Autumn Cup. What's your expectations going into that one?
I can't remember what track is it again?
It's Suzuka for the finale, so it's it's a very different taste, I suspect, and one for the scene of many big talking points over the years and all sorts of championships. So, what's your kind of thoughts going into that one? Because it's a track that's very, very fast and flowing, particularly, of course, that first sector, and it'll be very interesting to see how everyone handles it in these Formula Renault cars.
I think it'll be tough because I think these cars wash out quite a bit when you're following closely. So yeah, I think it'll be tough through that first section, and there's not a lot of room for either. So if you touch the grass, you're having a big accident. So it'll be a tough event, I think.
No, absolutely. Well, Kieran, looking forward to seeing how you get on in that one. Congratulations once again. You are our Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day.
Thank you, guys.
That's Kieran Smart joining us there. Let's catch up with our race winner from race number 1. That is Danny Henney, who joins us. Now, Danny, top step of the podium in race number 1, but race number 2 didn't quite go your way, but then a very strong recovery drive in race number 3. What's your thoughts overall from the event?
Yeah, hi guys, really enjoyed it. Race 1 went really well. Had a bit more pace than I was expecting, to be honest. I struggled a little bit in practice last night. But yeah, it was good, other than obviously the pressure with Fraser behind. I knew I had to break that 8/10 gap to try and pull away. That was good. Race 2 started well, and then just couldn't get away from the draft. Had a really good battle with Fraser. And then going into the last couple of corners, unfortunately, we had a bit of net code. So that's what wiped me off the side. And then, like a plonker, I went the wrong side of the curb and got another 4 or 5 second slowdown. So absolutely ruined my race. And then race 3 again started really well. Had a bit of a game plan just to try and break away slowly. But Adam, bless him, I just couldn't drop him. And then, as you do, you start making the odd mistake here and there. Then Fraser come into the pack, and I thought, right, Adam got me. I'll get him on the exit down Hanger Straight. And then, unfortunately, he ran out of talent and dropped it. So that sent me off again for another slowdown.
And it's one of those ones, Danny, I'm interested to get your thoughts on when you get hit with an 8 code, because it's one of the most frustrating things ever in iRacing. How do you just put that to the back of your mind and just focus on the next couple of corners, the next couple of laps, and just trying to finish your event on a high?
It is frustrating, especially when you're having a battle with someone, obviously, like Fraser. You can go really hard wheel to wheel, and we'd gone side by side through a couple of the corners before. I was really looking forward to having a good battle all race long, and just disappointed. But we all know it can happen. So the minute you go off, you kind of just put it out of your mind and focus on overtaking whoever the next person is in front and trying to get as many places back as you can.
Definitely. And what's your expectations for Suzuka? Are you kind of, is that a track that you're comfortable with and you fancy your chances?
I do, yeah. If you ask any of the lads I usually race with, they'll all tell you they won't let me race at Suzuka because I usually beat everybody. So it's a strong track for me, I must admit. It suits me really well in this car. I think I had a world record in this a couple of seasons ago. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Suzuka. It's probably my favourite track to drive on the service. But again, unfortunately, it's one of them tracks where you just can't get out of the toe. But yeah, I should be strong there. Look forward to it and see if we can come back and challenge the boys again.
Great stuff, Danny. Well, look forward to seeing how you get on there in Suzuka in 2 weeks' time. And thanks very much for speaking to us after the race.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
That is Danny Henney there. Let's catch up with the first of our two Rethink Racing drivers and speak with Jack Eyre, who comes and joins us now. Jack, 3 very, very interesting races to be treated to there tonight. How are things overall from you? Are you kind of happy enough with that one?
Very happy with qualifying for a change. I think that's probably about as fast as I could have gone. There's a nice little 4/10 buffer behind me to 4th place. And then I got a good start. I was alongside Fraser for parts of Sector 1 at the opening lap. And then, yeah, we just all settled into a rhythm. I managed to keep up with the guys due to the draft because it is about half a second. But then a second that they got, I think the gap was like 0.8 was the cutoff. As soon as they pulled that on me, then I sort of had my own little race. But yeah, two decent results, and then picked up some front wing damage in race 3 and had to stop. But ultimately got a top 10 in the end. Bit of a lonely one, but top fun nonetheless.
So looking ahead to the final few rounds at Suzuka, what's your kind of expectations for the championship, or the Autumn Cup Championship, I should say? What are you kind of aiming for in that one?
I think I'm just trying to fight off everybody for 3rd place and the last bit of silverware that I can get. I think the positions might stay the same. I don't know. I've not actually looked how close the points are, to be honest, but I think it's obvious that Fraser's ran away with the biggest trophy, and then I can only assume Danny or Hislop is in 2nd. Yeah, so I'll try and keep 3rd. I think I'm near 3rd, if not in 3rd. So we'll see. Just going to do my best.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, Jack, look forward to seeing how you get on at Suzuka in 2 weeks' time. Thanks very much for speaking to us after the race.
Cheers, all the best. See you soon.
That's Jack Eyre there. And finally, let's catch up with Michael Weddle, who joins us now. Michael, again, we're just saying to Jack there, 3 very eventful races, but I suspect you'll be pretty happy with how it's kind of gone overall.
Yeah, I got a bit unlucky in that second race with Ronald spinning. I thought he was going to go to the right, but he gripped back up and went to the left, and then got incredibly lucky in the 3rd race. So I'll definitely take my luck when I get it.
Yeah, and it's just one of those ones, like you say with Ronald, it's just unfortunate. There's nowhere
yeah,
go,
that's just
that's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It looked like he was going to go back to the right, but then the car just gripped up, so nothing you can really do about it. Nowhere to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those ones as well where what we're seeing a lot of the time with the drivers is we're kind of biding their time a little bit. We're seeing a number of drivers just sitting in the rear of the car going down the hang straight. It looks like they're going to make a move into Stowe, but they're just backing out and thinking better of it. Was there moments around the circuit that you were identifying in particular to try and make moves on drivers?
To be honest, I was one of the cautious ones. That caught me out severely on race 1. I think Jack. I was just staying behind Jack, and he made a small mistake. And then I ended up getting trained by 2 or 3 drivers there. So it's difficult in these tracks that's got a very strong draft, that if you get away over the second gap, you can run away at that point. But there's no point making moves that are just going to cause you to have issues and just catch up with the field, really. So it's all about just trying to bide your time, wait for the last 15 minutes and see what happens, unless you've got a delta time that's over a second quicker than the person in front, really.
Yeah. And Michael, again, an eventful penultimate round for you in the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup a couple of weeks ago at Knockhill. Just talk us through that one, managing to extend your championship lead as well.
Yeah, it was 3 really close fought races, so quite happy to extend the championship lead going into the last round. So see what happens when it comes round to that. But yeah, looking forward to getting back out in the Mini.
Oh, absolutely. Michael, look forward to seeing you out there and indeed at Suzuka in 2 weeks' time for the final round in our Autumn Cup. Michael, thanks very much for speaking to us.
Cheers, guys.
That is Michael Weddle there. And that's all we've got time for here tonight. That's been 3 fantastic races in the SMRC eSports Racing Autumn Cup, presented by Sim Broadcast and powered by Reese Motorsport Insurance. I've been Andy Alston. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you on Wednesday, the 3rd of November, for 3 races at Suzuka for the final round in the Autumn Cup. We'll see you then.